Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back or welcome to the Elevated Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm an empath coach and energy worker. I'm so glad you're here. You are joining, if you are just joining this community, you are joining a community of elevated empaths who harness their empathic superpowers, embrace their duality, and live consistently as their authentic soul. So, how are we doing? How do we feel after the last couple episodes? Talking about sexual empathy and how we can get drained by the partner or partners that we're with and how we should protect our energy. Before we get into today's episode, I wanted to let you know that I have 2 one-on-one coaching spots open right now. So if you're interested in one-on-one empath coaching with me, we dive into all of this stuff, uncovering your roots, your limiting beliefs, and we work together to rediscover your authentic self and what your authentic soul wants and needs. And we live consistently from that authentic place. And it naturally leads to manifesting your ideal life. I also do Akashic Records readings. If you're interested in communicating with your spirit team and getting some information about your soul throughout past lives and this current lifetime. I also do animal communication readings if you want to have that soul connection with your pet. And you can learn about all of my offerings at lisabtag.com, Lisa, B as in boy, T as in Tom, AG.com. So today, my mom is here watching Jasper so I can record some podcasts. What a life, you know? Oh, God. Today on the podcast, we are talking about the power of empathy in sex. And I've talked about the downfalls of empathy in sexual experiences and when we get drained and when our partner when we're not on the same page as our partner and when we feel drained and how to protect our energy. But I feel like we also need to talk about the upsides and the beauty and the amazingness that comes with being a sexual empath. It's so important in sexual experiences too. So I want to talk about all of those important things that come with being an empath and in your relationship or your sexual experiences. If you're not in a relationship, I want to talk about all of that. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, write a review, and write in to tell me what you think about this episode or any other episodes. And I would love to hear what you want me to talk about next. All right, let's get into it. As an empath coach and intuitive healer, and I focus on sexual health as a part of holistic health, I see our sexuality as a big part of our spiritual development. And I also see it as a marker of our physical health. You know, if we don't have a regular libido or we have a low libido, it's really a signal from our body that something's wrong. And so I see it as this hallmark of physical health, but also as you move through the spiritual process, whatever you want to call it. You know, I hate the word spiritual process. We need to find a better phrase for spiritual process, because I don't like it. I feel like maybe it's because it's overused. It just doesn't feel right. Or spiritual journey too. It just doesn't land with me. We need to come up with a better phrase for that. Write in to tell me if you have a better phrase for that. Anyways, as you move through this spiritual process, sexuality and embodiment is such a important part of that process because it's connecting the body and spirit, and sexuality is a huge part of embodiment as well. Feeling confident in your body, feeling sexy, and all of those things. We've talked about sexual empathy and being drained or exhausted or depleted if you're not properly managing your energy, or when we allow our partner's energy to become ours and we start to operate as if their energy is our own, which can get really exhausting. On the other side of the coin, I think it's important to know the importance of empathy in any sexual experience, whether it's with yourself, a partner, partners, several partners. You know, I don't judge. So I actually was reading this article about, just me on a Tuesday morning, reading this article that this stripper wrote about why older strippers surprisingly make more money. And so I was like, I got to read this. And so the author is named Erin Taylor. So the link will be in the blog. She describes how older strippers, to her surprise, make more money than their younger counterparts because of their range of experience and empathy. And she says in the article what it takes to be a successful exotic dancer. And one of the biggest things is empathy. And I'm just sitting here on a Tuesday and I'm like, holy fuck. What a great opportunity for me to dive into this. And she says that being able to connect with your client despite who they are, where they come from, what they look like, or how much money they make, and treat them like they're the only person in the room. Obviously, I had to write about this and talk about this on this podcast. I'm just chilling on my Tuesday morning, reading about strippers, and the word empathy shows up, And so then I started to look into it a little bit more. I started to notice that in all types of sex and sex work, empathy is at the core of all healthy, empowering sexual experiences. Knowing what our partner wants and needs, paying attention to their energy and their body language, responding and reacting in the moment to how they're feeling, and responding to their desires and their fantasies, and getting creative establishes that really powerful energetic exchange in the bedroom. As I read and watched lectures on BDSM and OnlyFans and sex work, I observed this theme of empathy continually coming up. So that's why I wanted to talk about it more. It's one thing to look sexy and provide a fantasy and just look good and make it look good. It's another thing to make clients and customers feel special and safe. So I'm talking more about sex work, but also in intimate, one-on-one, private sexual experiences. This is the case. It's one thing to look sexy. It's another thing to make your partner or your customer, your client feel special and safe. Empathy is what keeps people coming back for more because they feel seen. We talk about this a lot. Empathy can have its advantages and disadvantages. The most common misconception about empathy is that it's always a positive thing. We should strive to understand how others are feeling all the time. But the difference, that misconception is actually empathy we can absorb those thoughts, emotions, and energies and opinions and perspectives of others. And we take it on and experience it as our own. And it can really create these energy leaks in the spiritual, emotional, and physical bodies. We're absorbing that energy and experiencing it as our own. If we don't have the right tools or clearing techniques, we can easily get drained by that emotional roller coaster of other people or animals or plants or social media. It's literally anything with a life force. All of these energies can pack onto our backs and kind of weigh us down and lead to burnout. And then that empath overload or empath burnout can cause anxiety, frustration, anger, depression, vicarious PTSD, heavy emotions, all of that. And it can all lead to kind of that heavy weight on our shoulders. And that's what I experienced working at the top tech company I was at doing law enforcement. I was taking on all of those stories I was reading every day and experiencing them as my own. So I had this vicarious trauma and was anxious all of the time because I felt that I had to carry the weight of those stories with me every day. Okay. But when we train ourselves as empaths to regulate and maintain our boundaries and emphasize our self-care before others' needs exercise our empathy in a balanced way, we can naturally embrace those empathic superpowers and in turn just like heal the world or the world around us, our community, whatever it is. So what's sex got to do with it? Let me tell you. If you're an empath, there's a high chance that you could be a sexual empath as well, absorbing the energy and the emotion of the person or people that you're intimate with. We usually take this energy on without even noticing or having a conversation around it. And it's especially prevalent when we're having sex because we're in such a vulnerable state and riding these like wild roller coaster of energies, which can be really good. But if we don't have our boundaries in place and we're letting go of our barriers, it's really easy for our partner's energy to transfer into our space and ours into theirs because we're intimate physically and emotionally. We are naked. We're inside of each other. You know, it's like our energies are intertwined. Having sex, especially casual sex as an empath, can be tricky. If our partner is in a certain headspace or they feel negatively about you, we can take that on and either feel their emotions or feel that way about ourselves without even a clear discussion around it. Like I said, we can take this all on without even noticing and be like, why do I feel that way about myself when I wasn't feeling that way earlier? It could be that, taking on that. If we don't feel secure with our partner to express our needs and our energy, we can definitely get caught in this energetic spiral because we just get disoriented trying to evaluate what energy is ours and not ours. If that resonates with you, I want you to just kind of think about maybe some sexual experiences where you were like, the next day you kind of felt hungover, essentially, emotionally hungover. You could have been physically hungover too. But I'm sure you've had an experience where maybe you had sex with someone that you just didn't really feel like was the best thing for you to do, or you just kind of had emotion around it or charge that didn't feel right. So our responsibility in our sexual safety doesn't end with just physical protection, STDs, COVID, pregnancy, that's what I mean by physical protection. But we also need this energetic and emotional safety too with our partner. Many of us have experienced some sort of sexual trauma, big or small. I like to say big T trauma or little t trauma. It just manifests for us in this very energetically charged way, of course, whether it's physical or emotional abuse, or it can be so small, I don't like saying big or small because that's subjective. It's how you feel about it. But it can even just be this conditioning by society that we have taken on. For example, we're often taught that the male orgasm and the male gaze is the most important factor in being a woman or being sexy as a woman. So we translate that to our personal lives. Women can feel really pressured to be the sexual providers instead of receivers. And so if you haven't experienced this, I commend you. If you're a woman and you feel that you have not taken that perception on by society, I commend you. It's just very common that as women, we think we need to be the providers and the male orgasm is all that matters, right? It's just one example of conditioning by society that affects our perception of sex, but there's so many others. Once that sexual trauma gets added in to this empathic, energetic exchange, sex can be a very emotionally charged area of life. If we haven't worked through that conditioning by society or religion or upbringing or sexual trauma, it can get really dense because sex brings that back up. When we have to be vulnerable sexually, it brings all of that shit to the surface, right? And so it can get really emotionally charged for both parties if neither party has worked out any of their shit. it can really bring those things to the surface. The things that we don't confront are just going to keep, staying on our backs, essentially. Since our emotions and energies are just charged with years of societal conditioning and sexual trauma and just this pure vulnerability, sex just brings up that energy and therefore emotion between two or more people. And I'm not saying this all to tell you that we are doomed and shouldn't be having sex. I would never say that. I'm saying this to you because we can actually turn this into a really empowering and beautiful experience with our partner if used in the right way. We can also utilize this empathic superpower to help us connect with our partner and create this enhanced sexual experience. Empaths are so sensitive to energy and energetic shifts. They know when the energy in the room has changed. And maybe this has happened when you're intimate with someone. You've noticed this change in their energy during sex and you respond to it. And this could be a positive change or a negative change. Like, they start to get more excited. And so then you get to get more excited. And then you're both in the moment. And then, things happen. Or somebody gets distracted or somebody starts to feel weird about something that happened. And then the energy just shifts and then you both feel a little off. Those are just you've probably noticed these changes, and we naturally respond to the other person's energy and then we match it so that we can enjoy and connect in that moment. As empaths, we match energy very much. We just meet people where they are a lot of the time. And that's just very common. We'll just match energy. So when I say match, I just say we kind of take our energy and our vibration and just match the other person and where they are. Empathy is vital in understanding your partner and your partner's needs before, during, and after sex. Not just sex, in the relationship, in love, and all of those things. I'm obviously talking about sex today, but I mean in all relationships, of course. So how do we separate from the energy and use it to our advantage? Before and after during a planned experience. Sometimes they're not planned, and those are great too. We love those, of course. But before and after, it's important to clear our energetic space, and you should just be doing this even if you're not particularly a sexual empath. If you just resonate as empathic in another form, it's always good to clear our energetic space, whether that's through meditation, spending time in nature, taking a bath, using crystals, exercising, whatever clears your energy and helps you ground your space and helps you re-own your space. That's really important, is to re-own your space. You can go to my website, lisabtag.com. You can actually sign up to receive a free Empath 101 video, and you can learn more about these grounding techniques that are specific to your energy that might work for you and help you understand, what's going to work best for me. Clearing your energy does not mean that you're getting rid of them in physical form at all. I just want to be clear about that. Sometimes I have to clarify that because clearing someone out of your space sounds like you're getting rid of them altogether. I don't mean that. It's just clearing their energy out so it's not weighing on you as heavily. You're still going to care about them. You're still going to feel the way. You're just not carrying their energy on your back. And I also want to say that this is so important for sex workers in person or online. We can take on energies from online too. You don't have to be in person for all of this. The world is filled with people who don't honor and respect sex work, of course, and that energy can easily infiltrate their mind, body, and spirit. So it's important for everyone. I just thought it would be especially important to call out sex workers or anyone who, works in that space. the world is filled with people who want to get in our space and kind of tell us how to live our lives, of course. It's really important to separate from these thoughts and energies and opinions that aren't authentic to our beliefs, because then we'll start to believe the things that people are saying if we don't have this ownership of our space and neutrality around that. We can easily get, we can start to think that what these people are saying is resonating with us and can kind of cloud our space and our sense of self. Reclaiming your energy allows for that ownership of your space and naturally pushes other unwanted energies out. I have to say, owning your space again is one of the best feelings. It feels so empowering and just magnetic. You start to call in the right people and the right things because you're taking ownership of your space. It's also important to communicate and understand how your partner feels going into the sexual experience. Are they having a rough day or a rough week? It's important to note these energies so that you can take notes of what energy is yours and not yours, and just easily separate the two. So you can be like, okay, this isn't mine. Once you note that it's not yours, it easily kind of leaves your space. It's just good to kind of take inventory of what's yours and not yours. And that can be the beliefs, the thoughts, the perspectives, all of that. We're still talking about how to separate from our partner's emotions, but still use it to our advantage, right? It's so important to understand that as an empath, we are not responsible for other people's healing. Ever. We're responsible for our own healing. And when we heal ourselves and raise our vibration, we naturally raise the vibration of everyone around us. We do not have to carry the weight of the world or our partner on our shoulders. Let me repeat that one more time. We do not have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. You just don't. You are an embodiment of the universe and the world. By healing yourself, you're healing the world. So it's important to prioritize your needs all the time. We can care about other people. We don't have to carry their weight. We can care, but don't carry. If it's not the type of relationship where you're totally aware of all that you could be absorbing, if it's a type of relationship where you're disconnected or not empowered, it's important to know yourself and your energy even more so that you can determine and observe the shifts in your space before, during, and after that sexual experience. I'll just tell you, and we'll take a little break here and tell you a personal experience. If you know me in real life, this is the time to stop listening. AKA my family. Anytime I go into like more of a casual hookup type of experience, I still do it. Anytime I go into not a relationship type hookup is what I'm saying. I take a really good inventory of how I'm feeling in my energy that day and say, do I want to bring in somebody else's shit right now? And do I feel like I can manage it afterwards? Do I feel like I'm in the right headspace to do that? It obviously comes with, its costs, of course. And there are days where I just kind of want to do my thing and take the risk and deal with it after. And I know how to regulate my energy after that. But there are days where I don't want to do that. And I know that my energy couldn't take it. And I know my boundaries now. So I don't even try to fuck with that anymore in those moments. Instead of, letting somebody talk me into doing something I don't want to do, essentially. Like I said before, empathy is at the core of sex and sex work. when we can clearly communicate and see our partner and their needs physically, emotionally, and energetically, we can use that to create this well-rounded energetic exchange, enhancing the connection and the intimacy with our partner. Empathy in all types of sex and sex work creates this space of expressing our needs and wants and fantasies and desires without shame or resistance. When we're comfortable with our partner and comfortable expressing these quirks and these kinks and whatever it is that you're into, it just creates this safe space where you can express yourself physically and emotionally and energetically. And that empathy just helps us tune into our partner in the moment and shift the physical space or the energetic space to create this more relaxing and enjoyable experience. So sometimes casual sex or sex with people you don't know that well, it's difficult to have that really safe space because you just don't have that communication style down yet. Some people feel completely comfortable saying to a new sexual partner, like, hey, I want you to spit in my mouth. Some people feel a little hesitant to say that right off the bat. Okay, side note. Like, TikTok is getting really amped up about spitting in people's mouths, and I think it's so funny. And so I've been taking a poll, who likes for people to spit in their mouth, and I just need to know. It's mostly for research, So that's why I use that as an example, because TikTok is really hyped about it right now, and I'm kind of hyped about it right now, and I'm just really curious if other people are into it. I don't know. Write into me. Just if you listen to the podcast and you know what I'm talking about right now, just say yes, write into me and say yes spit or no spit. And I'll know what you're talking about, and I won't even ask questions, okay? I'm taking a survey, Sometimes I'm talking really loudly in this closet. Just to paint the picture for you, I'm sitting in a closet right now. And my mom's here watching Jasper. I wonder if she can hear me talking really loudly about spitting in people's mouths. It's fine, it's fine. Okay. It's for the people. Okay. Side note over. So essentially what I'm saying is, if we feel really safe to express all of these weird kinks and shit, anything that you're into, if we feel that safety, that empathy, and seeing our partner and seeing what they need and want and not judging it or not putting shame on it, can just create that really enhanced, comfortable experience. Both people are going to get off if they feel really comfortable and safe and healthy and all of those things, most of the time, of course. As an empath coach and energy healer, I've seen the ways that empathy can just negatively impact our energy and our body if we're just not in control of it. That's the key thing, is we can really lose control of ourselves and the energy that we allow into our space, and it can just take over our sense of self and just make us lose our sense of self completely. We're taking on these perspectives and opinions and energies and all this stuff from religion, upbringing, society, politics, all of those things that created us who we are. And then as we get to this place of, okay, maybe I want to start creating my own beliefs and my own thoughts and my own perspectives about the way the world works and about who I am, instead of letting other people decide who I am. When an elevated empath embraces their superpowers, cares but doesn't carry, expresses their needs vibrantly, they naturally elevate their vibration and experience in their sexual experience and for their sexual partners and, everywhere else in their life. When we elevate our vibration, we naturally elevate the vibration of those around us. It just naturally happens. If we bring our vibration up to 75, I'm just giving arbitrary numbers, and somebody else is at 40, we just naturally raise their vibration a little bit. It's just everybody responds to energy. Everybody is an empath in some form or another. We have degrees of empathy. Everybody responds to energy and vibration. So if you are coming into a room and you're just like this vibrant soul, other people around you are going to see that and magnetize to that and then bring their energy back up to where you are. So this is the case in all aspects of life. This is especially important in sexual experiences, of course. So if you can kind of control the vibration and the energy in the room because you're an elevated fucking empath, you can create these really positive, embracing, elevated, beautiful sexual experiences for yourself. You can create that. You can manifest that. As long as you're doing that work, right? When we stand firm in our boundaries and our desires, and we don't let anybody else dictate who we are and what we're into, especially when it comes to something as personal as sex, we naturally encourage others to do the same. We can be that inspiration for other people. If we encourage others to share their desires and fantasies in a healthy way and create those safe spaces of non-judgment, no fear, all of that, what a naturally elevated vibration where we can express ourselves freely without the judgment of whatever it is. And same with that, if we express our vulnerability, we allow others to feel safe to do the same. You've probably noticed this naturally happen in conversations that you're in. When you share something, you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I should share this about myself. I'm a little nervous to, or whatever it is. And you just decide like, fuck it, I'm going to tell this person. They're going to naturally feel okay sharing information back with you because you've shared vulnerability and they respond to that and they're like, okay, I can be vulnerable because they created that space. You can create these spaces everywhere in your life, including sexuality. Even if, you kind of notice this when you start to date new people, when you're kind of like, I'm just going to say something bold. And then they respond to it really well. We're all fucking weird. We're all weird and crazy, and we all have like weird fantasies deep down. We all have these quirks, everything. But there's something about society that tells us, don't tell strangers, essentially. Don't tell strangers this. Like, be a lady, be this, all these things. And then once you decide, okay, I'm going to start to share a little bit, they're like, oh yeah, I like that too. Or, that happened to me too, and all these things. So you can be the starter, the leader in that space and create that higher vibration of expressing yourself naturally. So to sum up, empathy is so important in sex and sex work. I wanted to clarify that. In my last episode, we talked about kind of maybe the pitfalls. Maybe you saw that as a pitfall, seeing that we had to protect our energy and really keep it close to our chest. Empathy can be a really empowering and beautiful experience too when we use it and harness it as a superpower instead of letting it drain us. Instead of letting other people's energy drain us, we can respond and make it and create this really beautiful, empowering experience. Okay? I love that. I love that for you. I love that for you. How do you feel? How do we feel after that? I feel really good. I think we should clear out some energy. Should we clear out some energy right now? Let's do it. Really quick. Wherever you're at, if you're not driving, Or if you are driving, just keep your eyes open. But if you're not driving or doing something that requires your eyes, close your eyes and just say hello to your body. Say hello to your energy. Decide that you're going to re-own your body and your energy today. Just see everybody else's energy, any unwanted energies, leave your space as you do that. And start to re-own every corner of your body and your aura and your space. And take a deep breath. And let it go. And you can open your eyes. And I hope you feel good. I hope you feel elevated. Let's elevate our vibrations and our emotions today. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at The Elevated Empath. Go check out my offerings and my website at lisabtag.com to learn more about one-on-one empath coaching, Akashic Records readings, and animal communication readings. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, write a review, and I hope you feel elevated today. See you next time.